Welcome. Food. Resources. We all need food. They are a resource. Resources are simply the source again. In other words, resource. To utilize food as a resource, we cannot waste it. So there are ways to do that. I'm going to show you a couple of them right now. Disclaimer. Knives are sharp and should be handled by adults or under adult supervision. Children should not play with knives. Knives are dangerous and can harm you. End of disclaimer. Now, I'm going to show you garlic and onions today. Today I've prepared a garlic clove. This is the butt end of it, or the root ball end of it. This is the point of it. There's a point and a flat spot. And that flat spot is a root ball. Now I've conveniently already separated these, so I don't have to use the knife. You can see inside that dark little spot on the root ball is what's growing. Things jump. This is immediately plantable. You put it in the ground, done. You are growing garlic at that point. It'll do it all on its own. This part is what you eat. A little sharp end. The point. This is about a 40 to 60% ratio of usage and consumption versus growing. 40-60 is a pretty good ratio. If I could show you everything that you could do 40% and keep 60%, it'd be great. This is an onion. This is what the onion looked like before I began. This onion, if you notice, has had its layers stripped off. This is how big the onion was out here somewhere. And this is how big the onion is now that I've stripped the layers off. I did that in a very strategic fashion. I wanted to keep the green part growing. It has chlorophyll in it, showing you it's alive. And it has roots. These little dudes right in here, these are roots. I don't know if you can see those. See that? Those are roots. They get wet, they start transporting water and nutrients up to the bulb. You get a new bulb. Onions are pretty cool. They'll divide into two. And if you let them grow to maturity, they'll give you about 50 seeds, give or take. If everything goes well, those are all viable, and you got 50 seeds plus 2 new onions. Who knew? Today I'm going to show you how to cut the onion. Knives are sharp. Without wasting the onion. All the skins that I peel off are either used in my cooking or go to compost. So this is the onion. What I do is I make an incision around this edge. Then I turn the onion over and I make a little incision around this edge. That's just enough to get the skin layer off. I'll demonstrate that now. I'm only cutting through one layer to the best of my ability. So I've cut through this layer and I've cut through this layer. Now I'm going to make an incision the long way. That's one little thin slice. And I can peel that layer off. And I can do this layer by layer. I can just keep going. until I get down to the onion I showed you before. So this exposes the next layer. Sometimes you gotta cut through a couple of these layers because they're kind of dry and old, but hey, you know, go figure. But now, you have the layer that you can use for eating. And you can see right here where the incision was made, that's brown and dark, vibrant white, a little bit of green in here, hard to see. And then you have the brown stalk still. So I want to use this part, so I'm going to cut that away right now, which is repeating the process all over again. A small little incision around the base, just like peeling an apple, not a big deal. If your mom ever showed you or your grandpa ever showed you how to peel an apple, you can do this too. Sometimes the onions dry funny, and they dry in a way that is less than beneficial on the first or second layer. So you get this kind of desiccated skin. Gross. Nastiness. It's kind of hard to cut through. Oh. Don't want that in my soup. Now, I have my layer. I'm going to make the incision the long way. Tiny little incision, just enough to get through one layer. Then I peel that layer off. That layer was a little bit too dry for me. Sometimes they have these gooey layers too. It's like a thin skin. That's the part that dries and desiccates. So, this is sliced through, this is sliced through. I can just make one incision. I can make two incisions if I want. Fake like I'm a doctor or something. No, 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 I'm not a doctor. That was a joke. Doctors are professionals. They get paid a lot of money. I don't get paid a lot of money. I'm not a doctor. Now sometimes you have to take away this top layer because it's still too desiccated or dried. Not a problem. But this is what you have. It's the skin of the onion. And you can use all this in your cooking. It's quite a lot actually. Onion is a very flavorful product. And it can produce a lot of numminess. That's garlic and onions. Now, when you have your onion trimmed down to a layer that you don't want to trim through anymore, you want to plant it, you can put it directly into the ground and let it grow. Now, if you imagine that this layer right here is the ground where my fingers are, this is the ground, you plant it down, 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 down until it's fully submerged. Just like that. This green part stays above the dirt. The bulb goes below the dirt. And you are growing onions. Guess what? Really low maintenance. Not a lot of animals like these. They're underground. Only gophers and moles and voles and stuff would go after it. If you're protected against those, no big deal. Onion. If your garlic bulb gets down to a level that's too small, you don't want to mess with it, you can actually plant all these little ones if you don't want to eat them. You just break off this base. This is the root ball of the original garlic. You break that off, and these are the new root balls. And each one of these will turn into a garlic. Each one of these cloves will turn into a new garlic plant. There's one, there's two, There's 3 garlic plants right there. Each garlic can produce up to 16 cloves. I've counted them. Boring, huh? So, if you do your math and you look at it properly, 1 clove turns into 16 more cloves, which is a full bulb. Well, that's in 1 year. Well, the next year, you got 16 more, and on and on. And if you do your math right, soon you will be growing more garlic than you can harvest or plant. And you'll be selling this to some major corporation somewhere or at the farmer's market, however you please. Or you're feeding your neighbors or showing them how to plant these beautiful things. If you let the garlic grow to maturity, it'll give you seeds back. And then not only will you get the 16 cloves, but you'll get the 10 to 15 to 30 seeds as well that you can plant. Sometimes garlic grows little tiny garlics on top of its bulbs, and you can plant those directly. They don't always do seeds, so it depends on the garlic variety. Same with the onions. There's Egyptian walking onions, pretty interesting stuff. Anyways, that's garlic and onions. Remember, you can grow your food. You own your food. Don't let anybody tell you different. It's yours.